Hello, film fans. Welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. My name is Martin Harries, your host. I'm a filmmaker on occasion, but mainly can't stop yapping about movies. On this podcast, every episode, I pick a topic from a film that's coming out at the cinema or on streaming. I pick a favourite film from that topic and battle it out against a guest to decide which film would become the greatest film of all time. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Please enjoy part 2. Hello, Podsters or Podderoonies. If you prefer, we're back for part 2, talking Sam Raimi films. And of course, this is the part of the show where we have a look at your Instagram responses from the previous episode. And that previous episode was on robot movies. And Heather J. Stewart went with the best Pixar film. I wouldn't have any arguments. WALL-E. Ellie Nora, the other half, went with robots. N. Patek said, to be honest, I'm tied between Blade Runner, Terminator, and RoboCop. That's about it.
Wow.
Really strong.
I'm curious, guys, what's your robot pick of choice for you?
I would also probably say RoboCop. When I think robots, I think RoboCop. We actually are planning to do that one this year, too. It's just a great movie.
Amazing. I would say Robot and Frank.
Nice.
That's also a good movie. And I like The Wild Robot that just came out.
Yeah. Oh, I still need to see that. Yeah.
It's good. I wasn't sure, but I really enjoyed it. So I recommend it.
It was nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, RoboCop was my pick for the episode, and won by a decimal place against Ex Machina. I loved both films, but yeah, RoboCop just has this great 80s violent. I was very surprised how violent it was. I was like, oh my god, that's insane. Yeah,
I'd buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1.
Your move, creep.
Just a glitch.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes of any movie ever is Ed 209 trying to navigate the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
That's so funny. And even if I just am standing around, even if I'm at work and I just think about that, I would start laughing. It's just too funny.
Yeah. And he can roar in it like a lion, which is amazing.
Yeah. That's just classic all around, man.
Yeah. So my Sam Raimi choice, for me, I went with Darkman. I had not seen this before. I almost picked it for like R-rated comic book films, and I think Francis McDormand films as well. So it's been on my radar, in my thoughts for a while, and I've always kind of wanted to watch this. Other films in contention for me. Well, first off, we have covered quite a few Sam Raimi films in the past. We are, I am a pretty big Sam Raimi fan, and we've covered Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Spider-Man 2 already as well. But yeah, I couldn't help myself to do literally like a dedicated episode to him. So I didn't really want to go like Spider-Man, because everyone knows those films really well. And everyone said what there has to be said for, Spider-Man movies, the Raimi era, frankly. So the other ones were Drag Me to Hell and The Quick and the Dead. Drag Me to Hell, I've only seen it once because it scared the shit out of me, and I was very kind of scared to watch that again. He is such a craftsman in terms of creating a scare, Sam Raimi, and there's just this great. I always remember this one scene in Drag Me to Hell where there's this scene in a car in like a back seat, and there's this bit of paper like floating through the rear view screen, through the rear window. Sorry, and so your eyes are very much focused on the background of the image that he's set up here in the scene, and then the back seats are kind of like filled with darkness, and the old woman just like slowly reveals herself, and I was like, oh my god. And I felt like my soul just completely left my body in that moment. It's just such a great way of creating a scare, like making the viewer focus in tight, like what the hell is this thing floating about in the background, and the simple reveal of the woman coming out of the darkness in the foreground is just such a great way to scare you, such a simple way. So I was like, yeah, I'm not watching that again. So my other choice was other film in contention was Quick and the Dead, and which I have seen many, many times. Again, a real stacked cast with that. But, it's a bit silly though, and but so much fun to watch.
I actually, Quick and the Dead would have been probably one of my second picks too. Because
that would have been my number 2.
Again, I've watched that. I've also watched that so many times, but I don't know. I think the thing about it is, like, even though I know I really like watching it, I don't know that I think it's a great movie. Like, there's some things about it that I really like. Again, it's probably performance based, like Gene Hackman.
Yes.
Sharon Stone's kind of insane. Like, I mean, but and Russell Crowe, that was maybe the first thing I really saw Russell Crowe in. I was like, this guy's pretty great. I want to see everything else he's ever done right now. So I loved him, but the movie, I'm not sure if I can say it's good. It's like, I like it, but is it good? I don't know. Yeah.
It's super fun though. Just this whole concept of like a dueling contest is so stupid, but awesome at the same time. It's
really well done though. We'll have to do that one another day.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Apparently I heard a story that Sam Raimi came up to Gene Hackman on the set of Quick and the Dead, and he was like, I want to strap a camera on your chest to make it like a really cool shot, and Gene Hackman was basically told him where to shove it. Which I find hilarious. Yeah, so I ultimately went with Darkman. Well, what happens in Darkman? Going to IMDb as always. So, a brilliant scientist left for dead returns to exact revenge on the people who burned him alive. Wow, that's great, IMDb. Yeah, really great.
All right,
we're all set.
That is like a high level view, very very high bird's eye level view.
Yeah. So initial reactions, guys, to Darkman. What did you make of it from 1990?
It was quite funny because I had watched this in the 90s. Like, I mean, not when it came out, but probably shortly thereafter it was on television. I thought that the name of it was kind of appealing because it seemed like kind of a horror movie with some kind of a, interesting elements to it. And at the time, I remember enjoying it for what it is, which is kind of like a pretty decent B-movie, comic book sensibility, Universal Monster throwback type thing. Watching it again, it felt pretty dated to me.
Yeah.
Like some of the things in it, not just like the effects and things, which definitely felt dated. But just in general, some of the things about it were not as great as maybe I might have remembered. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I was actually glad to watch it again. And if you can go into it expecting like this kind of B-movie thing, and I don't think that's really what it was marketed as to begin with, but to me, that's what it is. And that's what I think you think it is too, yes. John. I mean, we talked about this a bit. I think you can enjoy it on that basis, but it'll be interesting just to see how we talk through this. Because I feel like usually when we talk through things, I start to appreciate things that I might not have appreciated before I discuss them. So I'll be interested to see.
Yeah, I have that same experience. Like I come out of the talk and I'm like, I actually want to watch that again. I've got new insights. Right? Darkman. Yeah. So, Darkman. I saw this a long time ago, and I rented it. And I rented it when there was literally nothing else in the video store that I hadn't seen. Right. And I was like, let's
bottom of the barrel.
It wasn't that, but it's like, I got to be honest with you. Like, whenever I saw the ad for it, it didn't grab me. I didn't know what was going on. And again, I'm like, I talked about this earlier, right? Torture, not a fan. And so when I finally saw Darkman, and they had that scene where they beat him up, they beat up Peyton, and they turned him into Darkman. That was so brutal and upsetting to me as a kid that I really didn't even want to finish the movie.
Really?
Like, I was so upset. And like, because it's just like, he had everything going great. He had Frances McDormand. It's this wonderful relationship. Now, I know this is how movies are made. This is it. Come high, we'll bring you low. And then we go forward. But as a kid, it really upset me. I'm like, this is so brutal. And then the bad guys are just laughing while they're just destroying this guy. So that's the memory I had of Darkman as a kid. I thought it was really brutal. Then, I saw it again on television, and I felt, okay. I'm not terrified anymore by him being turned into Darkman. I can actually see the humor in this. And when I could find Sam Raimi's humor in it, that brought me forward. And then I thought more about, the comic book sensibility. And now the most overwhelming feeling that I had is that this has so much in common with Batman 89, because it's just like
Dick Tracy.
Yes.
Also, yeah. Which came out around the same time. Sorry to interrupt, but yes, like that was the other thing with this is like, because it does feel like it's a comic book movie, but it's not based on an existing comic property. So you're like watching it and thinking like, oh, maybe I should read the comic book for this. There isn't one, because he was trying to do The Shadow, but he couldn't get the rights to it or whatever. So he ended up kind of making his own version of that, and then brought in like these universal horror type monster elements too, which, varying success level there. But I do think that you pointed out when we were watching it, the Batman 89 and Dick Tracy thing. And then it's also got like the Danny Elfman score even. So like you've got even more connection to like 89 Batman, which is, an amazing film.
Oh, I mean, that's unstoppable.
Really
yeah. I mean, certainly the music, the score element here from Danny Elfman is one of the strongest elements of the film for me. It's very close to the Batman theme.
Yeah,
as well.
So close.
Very close. And as you're saying, like, I think this was a bit of a flop when it came out, I think, and certainly came out under the shadow of Batman. Obviously, Batman was huge when it came out, and it was certainly this change of focus with superhero films, even at that time, to go a lot darker, and people were very much, I don't know, like there wasn't really that comic book feel with movies in the 80s, I don't think, certainly from a darker tone. So this was certainly an era where things were changing, and it kind of, I guess, got lost in the tide of Dick Tracy and Batman especially, and obviously you can certainly see that with its budgetary constraints, but I did like sort of the opening scene here. I found it quite charming with the action, with the gun battle, where one of the goons grabs the guy's wooden leg that turns out to be a machine gun. That was quite a creative move, with comedy infused there, with the guy hopping around at the end on one leg at the end of the scene. There's sort of some cool movement with the camera as well. I especially liked kind of the fast tracking shot going through sparks of bullets. The car stunts were a bit unintentionally funny.
Yeah, why were they in those crates?
Yeah, like what one car like flips over by crashing into a load of cardboard boxes. I don't know how that works.
Clearly empty cardboard box.
Yeah. But yeah, the most prominent thing when you first watch this is the music. It's really quite It's the most powerful thing in the opening scene for sure.
It has like it's just like when I started watching it this time, I mean, that scene at the beginning that you were just talking about with the shootout, the leg, that's very Joker. And then we have, Darkman, he gets all burned up, very similar to Axis Chemicals, gets shot out, in this explosion, ends up in the water again, makes you think about the Joker and the cards coming up. Then he comes back and goes to the hospital. It's just like, I was like, oh my God, it's just like, okay, this is split up, except Darkman is our hero this time. Larry Drake is what it's all about. That's the reason for the season, in my opinion.
Now,
Durant.
I want to go back to what you said, though, because I think that you made a really good point. Like, in these comic book movies, we're really used to seeing, like, yes, there's going to be, like, these deformities that happen to people, but they always happen to the bad guy.
Yeah.
And so for this to have, like, this deformity happen, and it's to the hero, that's kind of what introduces, like, this dark hero element to it, which I think is a super great point.
Well, I mean, it's terrifying because he looks, now, again, I have this knowledge, he looks kind of like one of Raimi's zombies, with the way his hands are so burnt up and his face. And then when we actually see Darkman's face, it looks like something out of Day of the Dead. We've got that really hardcore look. And so it's like, I wanted it fixed. I'm like, fix his face. We're going to fix his face. Like literally, we're going to fix it. Right. Okay. He's got this mask. Good. All right. But he's going to fix it for good. That's what's going to happen. And then it didn't happen. And like, it also his laboratory. I mean, I gotta ask about how that computer survived. That's pretty good.
I love that he's working on that computer. It's got like a huge like scorch mark on it. It's like the case is like jacked open, but like the power of will has brought this machine to life.
Yeah,
I agree. Like the explosion was excessive.
And it's above like a restaurant. Like, where is this laboratory above like a deli? Like, you know what I mean? That was really weird.
Another like just unintentionally funny thing to me was when like he just got blasted out the window.
I thought that was great.
And just flew like across the street and splashed into the water.
Yeah.
I just started laughing, and that was inappropriate, but it was pretty damn funny. I mean, I do think like, you're seeing like, okay, so yes, this is a lower budget movie, but for Sam Raimi, this was not a lower budget movie. Like, this was his first studio movie where he actually had money and crew that had experience on things, and I think like that was a double-edged sword for him because he was able to do some things that he wouldn't have been able to do without that. But at the same time, he had to relinquish some control, which I don't think he liked. Like, we saw him do an interview, and he really brought that up.
Yeah.
Because he kind of has this like punk rock do-it-yourself kind of aesthetic to his early films. Yeah. Where it's just like, he and whoever was making the movie just did everything by themselves. So they had control over every aspect of it. And this, I do think you see him wrestling with that in multiple places throughout. Yeah. I think that like when the writing, this is like a red flag for us when like the credits come on and there's like umpteen writers listed. Yeah. I mean, I think there were maybe 6 credited writers, maybe 8. Like there were so many writers that it took up the entire title screen. And that's just the credited writers.
Yeah, like, there's so many more.
There's more writers as well. And so, I feel like you could definitely feel that in the movie. And I know there was some editing shenanigans that took place after in post where like the studio kind of took over and then he didn't want them to, and Danny Elfman like withheld his score until they did something. So like there's a lot of like drama, and unfortunately I think that is reflected in the final product in a lot of different ways, where I just felt like there's some places where it goes really off the rails. Overall, though, I think, you can see what he was doing, and kind of you see like the elements of calling back to like Phantom of the Opera and The Mummy. And I think when we were watching some background thing, they mentioned maybe Liam Neeson also said Jekyll and Hyde,
Yep.
which is something I didn't really think about. But yeah, that's there. You know, you have your scientist who kind of has this alter ego.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
definitely. Yeah.
Dracula, because he can't be in the light that long.
That's true. Yeah. So even like all of those elements pretty nicely packaged into this kind of Darkman character.
The Mummy, the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, there's so many Universal Monsters inspiration here. Certainly with the design of Darkman for sure. Yeah, I certainly noticed the Mummy, Invisible Man, Frankenstein's creature as well. A bit of like Rorschach as well from Watchmen. I got certainly with the big coat as well and hat. But certainly from like a story sense as well, with like the influences from Universal Monster movies, you know, and obviously Mary Shelley. You know, Peyton Westlake is obsessed with like perfecting this synthetic skin, creating life, or in his case, like, you know, from very little, working with very little, and which certainly feels very Mary Shelley's Frankenstein-esque. But I like the fact that he's still trying to perfect his kind of technology as the film goes on. Like the skin only just lasts for like 99 minutes. So I like how there's kind of limitations to Darkman's abilities when he's like disguising himself as other people. There's always like a sense that he, as you said, John, like he might perfect it so he can fix his face. You know, because there's this idea that light is the thing that kind of affects the cells that makes them collapse. Like he might be able to look normal again. In saying that, though, you know, in comics, that's usually a trait in villains. You know, that they're trying to fix themselves by any means possible. You know, and nothing will get in their way, which is very similar here. So I so I find it quite interesting that Raimi has kind of flipped that on its head a little bit, you know, and making Peyton Westlake, you know, the hero and anti-hero, and it certainly becomes more of a tragic story as well for me.
Yeah, you have like your tortured creature element with Frankenstein.
You brought up the Hunchback.
Out. Yeah, no, I thought about the Hunchback too, like Hunchback of Notre Dame, where like, you know, yeah, it's like this deformed person who has like a good heart, but they're treated a certain way because of the way they look, you know, and we see that with the Frances McDormand Julie character, you know, where even from the beginning, well, I thought it was funny. She said like, oh, he has this great relationship. And I'm like, but does he? Because, you know, before the big explosion, like she's very like career focused, which is usually like kind of a dog whistle for like, you know, an independent woman who doesn't want to be tied down. And then, you know, he's talking about getting married and she's like, I don't know, you know, and he's like really hurt by that. And, you know, and part of that is just introducing some kind of conflict with them so that it's more difficult when he gets, you know, blown to smithereens, because then they, you know, she feels bad because their last discussion was her, you know, telling him she wasn't interested in marrying him, but she really did love him. So it's, you know, there's some drama inherent in that, and I get it, but I'm not sure about Julie because again, like when he shows up later and he feels like he can't tell her, you know, that he's burned up because, and then he can't, because when he tells her, she's like, but yeah, can we just not, you know? So I don't know.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. I mean, because what I was talking about like young me, teenage me that saw this movie, and there's so many things I didn't catch. Let's talk about a few more that I mean, I don't know how I could have missed. I didn't properly appreciate Liam Neeson's accent work in the film. You know, it's just like that's just a question I have about the film in general. Why couldn't we just have him use his real voice?
That's a question I have about a lot of things. Like every time
Just
Gerard
yeah,
Butler is in a movie, why can't he just be Scottish?
yeah.
Because when he's supposed to be from New York, I just want to jump out the window. Same thing with Liam Neeson. Like, just let the guy be Irish and we'll just live with it. I mean, there's no reason why this character couldn't be
I know.
Irish.
And he tries to change up his accent, I feel like, when, post being burnt alive, exploded, whatever. He tries to make it a bit more hoarse, I guess. And I don't know if it entirely works either with that.
He's trying to be like Batman. Think about it. Like he's trying to do the Michael Keaton voice like that, that became so popular. It's, that's the accent thing is just way off the charts. I mean, our other, so we have, Larry Drake we talked about, and we have our other villain. Okay. Terrific actor. And it's
Colin Friels as Lewis, I guess.
Thank you. Because I was like, what was his name? So, we have him, and he was fantastic. I thought he was a really good actor. His voice at the beginning, absolute dog shit. But by the end of the film, I think he sounds great. So it's just, I'm like, wait, did they shoot it in order? What happened?
But another Scottish person who should not be not Scottish. Yeah, I mean, like
by the end, he was great. I was like, I forgot about that.
He's talking like this, like I just, maybe they were asking him to do it because, like, comic book type movies always have people talking these ridiculous kind of ways, like
this heightened way.
J. Jonah Jameson, like, it's like these newspaper guys and just have these voices that are just stupid.
And I've done some dog shit accents in my lifetime, so that's why I don't feel bad pointing it out. Like, I mean, there are times, where somebody will have a tape of something you did, and you look back on it and you go, "Oh, sweet Jesus!" It's it's an adventure. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I think there's always this kind of sense, certainly with this film and a lot of Raimi films, that there's this sense of separation from reality, that this is very much a different world that we're entering. This is not the real world at all. But certainly, I think it's a real tough job he has here. I don't know whether this is just studio interference as well, as you were saying, Georgia, but sometimes it feels very tonally a little bit all over the place. Like with the action scenes, some of them, like they have some sort of like great, like dark comic book feel to them sometimes, but also there's some like really quite gory scenes, as you were mentioning, John, where Liam Neeson is holding these like electric nose when he becomes Darkman. Yeah, with his hands like burning to the bone. I think the visuals were pretty good there, but then at times it feels like really cartoony. The most cartoony comic book thing feel is when, like as you said, Georgia, when the building is blowing up and you see this body fly through the air screaming.
It's like Wile E. Coyote at that point.
Exactly. Not many directors would even think about showing something like that or even have that as a thought or an idea, but I guess maybe slightly.
It's like Die Hard too. When he ejects, that's what I think that Die Hard 2 was around this time too. I think. Anyway,
so I guess with the dark comic book tone that the film is trying to establish, Raimi is trying and get away with something like that. I don't know whether he entirely succeeds, because it jumps. You go from this quite like fairly dark comic book tone with the gory stuff with his transformation, and then you have just this weird like cartoony climax, and it's just like, what? So you either go with it from that point or you just don't, I guess. But tone issue was certainly something that we noticed, like, and unfortunately I think it even affects like some of the actors, like Frances McDormand, who is almost universally great in everything. I think I'm not saying she's bad in this, but she seems lost on occasion, that like she doesn't know what the tone of this movie is supposed to be. And I believe she even has kind of said as much in some ways. Like, she and Raimi were like friends,
And I think the Coens, so she's married to one of the Coens, Joel,
Yeah.
I think. Like they kind of did some helpful, rewriting on this as well that are uncredited. But and she's in it. She was friends with him, but I think that like they just kind of didn't see eye to eye because she just didn't know what he was going for here. And I see that with her, like she's trying to be serious a lot of times because she's like a serious actor.
Yeah.
And it's just like doesn't quite work. Like I feel like she doesn't know where she's going. She's not sure what the movie's doing. And I think Liam Neeson sometimes is just trying to juggle so much inside his head that it makes things complicated because he's trying to like hold, the original Peyton and this new version of Peyton and make sure he's referring back to the Universal monster kind of sensibility and dealing with comic book and try to have an American accent and all of these things.
Oh, it's way too much.
The accent went first and then everything else kind of went.
Well, that's the thing. The accent, I think, always does go first because it's like you're trying to hit your real emotion, right? So the emotion comes out, but you don't normally speak that way. It's like, oh, I mean,
well, I'm sorry, and not to mention like the special effects stuff that he's doing.
Oh yeah,
and he's got pounds of makeup on too.
Yeah,
the accent
being sprayed with water, in those dark alley scenes. I'm like, bloody hell.
Oh my god,
that's so cold.
It looked freezing. I mean, it's I thought that was actually one of the best looking scenes, and that really captured the comic book vibe. The best for me is I remember that shot with the drain. I loved it. It also made me think about The Crow later on.
Yeah,
because we have that shot with Eric Draven going down there. But with Liam Neeson's performance, it's just he had a lot to carry here, and I do think that there was confusion with the tone, and I also feel with Liam Neeson, particularly pre-Darkman. I mean, in the movie before Peyton turns into Darkman, he's trying to act really happy and joyful because he wants to really show this sharp contrast. And the problem is that it's very artificial. And again, if we have this kind of B movie thing happening, that works perfectly. That plays perfectly. But it just, I think it was hard because again, the tone of this film just kept changing, in my opinion, scene to scene.
Fair. Yeah. And I mean, the one person who I think nails it is Larry Drake.
Absolutely.
Durant, because he doesn't have any levels. Like he's just a really nasty bad guy. And I'm not saying like he doesn't have levels in his performance. He does, but the character is one dimensional. I mean, it's a bad guy who is very bad. And yes, he does things in different ways and, gets to the point where he's just spraying bullets out of a helicopter, but he's doing the torture thing with the fingers even from the beginning. And, so there's something creepy about this guy. And I think Larry Drake always knows where he is. He's the bad guy. He's creepy. He does weird shit. The end.
He Dr. Giggles.
He has a little bit. He has a little bit more to do with the fact that he's trying to pretend to be, Liam Neeson at one stage. That was pretty interesting, certainly from an acting point of view. But certainly, I have one question that it just keeps rattling my brain after I've watched it. It's just, why is Peyton Westlake like spinning in the hospital?
I have no idea.
It's just a little visual thing where I'm like, why? I don't understand. But I did quite like that sort of retro visual effect thing when sort of, he is getting stronger, and he this aspect of the fact that he's getting rageful, sort of that almost 60s style visual effects sequence before he escapes. I thought that was pretty cool though in that.
Well, the hat's off to Jenny Agutter for delivering that exposition which could choke a horse, and she did it so beautifully. And I was like, all right, tell us about it.
And
like,
she comes off as such a jerk too.
Yeah, it was
like,
fantastic.
Yeah, we did all this stuff. This guy's not gonna make it.
Yeah, take a look at that. But it's just like, I couldn't get over. That was a fantastic performance just for one scene. Delivered much needed exposition, and I always wanted this character to come back, frankly.
Yeah.
I thought maybe she could have been Darkman's assistant or had some greater role in this. Because she was incredible.
Yeah, just to explain the spinning, that would have been great.
Just to explain each scene, just scene to scene, she would show up.
If she could have just talked to Frances McDormand and told her, like, this is the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, the spinning is ridiculous. I don't know. I
really do hope Liam Neeson was
redistributing.
Not in there, to be fair.
I know. I hope just redistributing the lymphatic fluids in his body because it couldn't do it himself. Like, give us anything. Like, we paralyzed his nerves in his neck, so now we have to spin him to circulate his blood. Like, tell me something.
I just love it if between takes that person just kept spinning. It's like.
Yeah. Right, cut. We're going to lunch. All right, let's come on, guys. I'm like, oh shit, we forgot the guy spinning. Fuck.
That would have been so tremendous. I mean, the acting in this, like you brought it up, Martin. The acting in this, where I found it the most impressive, were the villains when they were trying to act like Darkman and themselves. And I don't know the names of the villains or the actors, but the bald thug was incredible. When he wakes up in the bed and everything that he did. I mean, that was just really strong, and it added a lot of depth to the film.
I thought this whole time.
yeah. Like, I mean, the villains, again, like talking about like our lead character being like a villain, but also I found the villains overall to be the most exciting part of the movie. Okay, Nicholas Worth was the name of the bald villain, Nicholas Worth, and he played Paulie.
Yeah, there you go.
And he was fantastic. And it's just like all of these villains, each one of them brought something. And yeah, I like the bad guys more than our hero.
Oh, okay.
That's hard.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I was more interested. And the reason for that is I felt that they had a richer backstory. Like, I mean, we have people that are like akin to Max Schreck and Batman Returns, this evil businessman. And, it's like, I want to see more of that character. It's like we had all these things, but with Peyton, it seemed kind of boring in the lab.
One note. Yeah.
It was just like, okay, we're doing this. And like,
I guess there might be just too much of an emphasis on treating, like, as I said, like flipping kind of the concept of Darkman being really obsessed with trying to perfect his technology and trying to get his skin back, like you would associate with villains, but this time he's the hero. Maybe that's the issue there. I mean, that's certainly like a fine line that Sam Raimi is playing with, and for me, I was rooting for Peyton Westlake. I am a big fan of Liam Neeson. I do like his acting and this character. But yeah, I agree to a certain extent that it's just it's risky going down that route, essentially creating an anti-hero within a B movie, which feels very comic booky and cartoony at times as well. But one aspect where I feel like that sort of tone works really well is with the little scene where you see Westlake disguised as Durant, and the real Durant shows up in the revolving doors, and they just go around in circles for a bit, even when they get out of the doors and like grab onto each other before they kind of try and knock lumps out of each other. Like the camera's still spinning around them. You can tell like Sam Raimi is definitely having fun with this scene.
Well, that's what seems really fun is that when he had these moments that really embraced the comic book aesthetic, except we had the benefit of motion. It wasn't just a still panel where we go from panel to panel. They put it together. That's when this movie shines for me. And I really appreciated, of course, yes, when we have the the two Larry Drakes, brilliant.
Yeah.
It's I like that. I again, like we talked about earlier, with the water down the drain and the movement we had in that. And the more I embraced that we were not in a real world, the more I could enjoy it, the more I could enjoy the laboratory. And I also laughed a lot more because some of these things were just comedic. And I feel that they were intentional. For instance, when we saw Darkman looking through the grate at the party, you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't he be in there?
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
You know? It's like he knows where all the ducts are.
I mean, that's great. That's such a great point. Like, yeah, because he's in his, he's in this lab, like labbing it up, doing all the science, and then he's like, "Oh, gotta go get in the grate."
Party in the grate.
I still have 517 more hours until my face is reconstructed. So let me go hang out in the grate.
It's like, I can't stand being in this lab anymore.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get some fresh air and hang out in the grate and spy on my girlfriend.
I just love the part when you see the sign saying Strack Industries. I'm like, okay. I see where you got that from.
This is a really fun movie when you can appreciate the absurdity. Yeah. And you can go along for the ride. And that's what I'd say. I do like it. I don't love it. And I wish I could say that I love it.
I know it's almost there. It's almost there. And then there will be something that just kind of takes me out of it. One of the things that takes me out of it, and we're back to talking like Wile E. Coyote, it's when he's like hanging out of the helicopter and like running on the top of the truck. And I think it even has like a real noodly part to the soundtrack there. That just might have been inside my head. I don't know.
It was there.
But it's so goofball that happens. And it, again, tonally, it just kind of takes you out of it. Because this is supposed to be like some high intensity moment. And then we have that. And it's like some Bugs Bunny BS going on. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we know why this movie is in existence. It's for one particular scene.
Oh, one line.
One line really is what holds this entire film together. And it never fails.
Well, you got to deliver it.
Yeah.
Take the fucking elephant.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my.
That's
my favorite scene, but definitely one of my favorites. I think.
Take the fucking elephant.
I love the pink elephant scene. I love the pink elephant scene where he's unable to kind of control his rage. There's a lot going on with the direction as well. Sam Raimi goes very crazy here. You've got like a lot of like severe Dutch angles on Liam Neeson, a lot of like warped shots on the fairground, Ferris wheel and clowns, and the guy he's so angry with just won't give him the pink elephant that he won. There's a lot of like there's a warped shot on him as well. Then we get these sort of like burning lines happening in the background, like his reality is breaking apart, and then there's just this fire behind it, and a lot of shots go right in. There's a shot that goes right into his eye and then out again, and the background reverses back to normal. It's kind of like Peyton is just trying to compose himself, compose his rage to then break the guy's fingers. Very much, like a very dramatic comic book panel. But obviously the bad side is the fact that his fingers do just look like a rubber glove.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. So I do admire the ambition of what he's going with here, with this kind of these crazy visuals. I mean, to the untrained eye, to some people, like, is he just about to go into a different dimension right now? What's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you guys think about that scene?
Yeah, I mean, that line is so funny. Like, I'm pretty much just waiting the whole movie for that to get deployed, and
it's so good
because I know it's coming, and it's just like, I mean, I think it's, I kind of like that they go whole hog with like the weird angles and the crazy clowns, and just, showing this Liam Neeson is about to lose it like hardcore, and it's not just that he loses it on the guy who sucks, but he also like loses it on his girlfriend too.
Yeah.
Because she's just like, she's totally doesn't know what's going on. He hasn't shared any of this information with her. He's just like artificially acting like everything is all hunky dory and like, oh, I'm so glad we're together. I'm so glad. And it's like he's trying so hard to recapture what he felt at the beginning, which I agree, John. His behavior at the beginning does seem a bit artificial as well. Unfortunately, I think that if that seemed more genuine, then it would make more sense to see him trying to recapture it later in like this really heightened fake way. But that's what we're seeing here is like he's really trying to be like, everything is normal. None of this ever happened. And he's like in major denial, and this kind of just sends him over the edge because he can't live in his denial anymore. But poor Frances McDormand has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Kind of like her in the movie in general. No idea what movie she's in, what's going on. But like in the scene, the character of Julie also has no idea what's going on. And she thinks, oh, I'm just so happy we're together. And why can't we, we can only hang out for 99 minutes each time. What's happening?
Why is that so specific?
Like the fact she already knew this, it's like, maybe try doing a little of your own math, Julie. Figure out why he might not be able to hang out and has to go back to his rehab at just that moment. But she doesn't know what's going on. He's not letting her in on his pain and his heartbreak and all the bad things that are going on. So she just sees him like wigging out and is just like, why are you freaking out so bad? Like, just let it go. I don't need this flipping thing anyway. This elephant prize means nothing to her, but to him, it's like ruining his perfect, life that he's faking. And then he just starts yelling at her too. So just raging out on his girlfriend also.
It's a really fascinating performance from Liam Neeson in that scene. Like I kind of loved that sort of desperate love for Frances McDormand at that fairground scene after his kind of rage moment with the pink elephant. Like his face starts to kind of bubble and he looks so terrified that she's seeing what's happening to him, that he makes this weird uncomfortable sound of like pure fear. And it's also, I mean, it's almost like he's laughing, but he's clearly not. It's just kind of, you don't often see that sort of acting. I thought it was kind of amazing, to be honest. But I don't know what. It's an interesting one with that performance in particular in that scene.
Yeah, I mean, with that scene, it's like, okay, I think the pink elephant scene, aside from the line, which, the best, that particular sequence, that kind of aesthetic that we went with showing these surreal comic book panels, I feel if we had stuck with that throughout, that would have really made the film pop in a way that you would remember. Yeah. And with Liam Neeson, I think about Liam Neeson in a lot of different movies. The one that always comes to mind, even though it's a quick bit, but really I think it's my favorite, Gangs of New York. I'm used to him like very serious, very grounded, right? When you think of Liam Neeson, he's always a grounded guy. He's a serious guy. So when they put him into movies like, most recently Naked Gun or, one of these other kind of different projects, it's putting him into a different territory. One of the funniest things is Phantom Menace that he was in, and how Liam Neeson in an interview acted like he really just could not stand all of the things around him he couldn't see that he was supposed to be reacting to. It was hilarious, because again, he's got a stiff upper lip and he's talking about his job. So when I see this scene with him, I feel that the elephant line is actually the expression of the actor himself,
Yeah.
with all of the mixed messages that he's getting about how he should come off in the film.
The frustration is real.
Yeah, it's right there. And and I also feel that it's like he, we wanted, I mean, always, right? What do Americans want? They want American superheroes, right? Like Christian Bale, that's Batman. We could go on and on. But what I'm trying to drive at here is that we've got this scene. Go ahead.
That he's miscast wildly.
Exactly. They wanted Bruce Campbell, and that was turned down by the studio. Then, this is super interesting, Bill Paxton was actually somebody that was considered. So if you think about the Bill Paxton and the humanity he brings, and then he also has a goofy sensibility, right? He can really make you laugh. This seems more like his type of film. But for Liam Neeson, it just doesn't. This is not like a Liam Neeson classic for me. The last thing I'll say about this scene is I wish that there, for me, because I like the humor in Darkman, is I wish that there was a follow-up to this scene where in his lab, Darkman had the pink elephant.
Yeah. Just
or
sitting there.
Just sitting there.
The digitization table thing. Just casually
just
there.
curled up with the gray cat.
Speaking my language, guys.
But I agree. I think one thing I certainly noticed with Liam Neeson's acting with this, with a lot of like superhero comic book films, there's always this duality that the actors have to like play with. In Batman, and certainly with Christian Bale, he's got like 3 he's using. It's the Bruce Wayne that the public sees. It's the Bruce Wayne that Alfred and Rachel sees, and it's obviously Batman. There's very clear distinctions with Christian Bale's acting in those movies, and the same with Michael Keaton's Batman as well. I feel like there is a very clear distinction between those two personas. Here, I think Neeson certainly struggles a little bit. For me, I think he actually struggles more with the Darkman side of it. Certainly with the voice, you talked about the accent. I think sometimes he can't quite pull that off. Like he's certainly an actor that can pull off rage, really well. But in like a superhero costume, I don't know whether it's a particularly like natural fit for him. Really.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, he's definitely trying to act through a whole lot of prosthetics and things like that too, which, I'm not sure that he had to try to do that before. And it's going to be challenging for anyone, to do that. But for him, because he, I think, does have a really open and expressive kind of face. Liam Neeson is a guy who's really easy to like in so many different movies because he does feel relatable. Like I feel like he, is good at being expressive in a way that warms you up to him or something. And this, like, he doesn't have the ability to do that because he has like these, creep teeth and no skin on his lips.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and that kind of turns into a problem for me as well because it's clearly like this rubber. And so the teeth are moving in a way that is not the way teeth move. So it kind of is weird. And I think like he's struggling with that. I think that I read that he was trying not to move the teeth at all because it did look stupid when he did it. So he's thinking about that. He's like, there's just too much that he's trying to juggle at one time when he's got like all the makeup on.
And also, there's just too many influences, I think.
I agree.
Because, the other one that I thought about, we didn't mention that we heard, was Beauty and the Beast. And so it's like, it's again, we have a monster and we have the woman that loves the monster. But again, it's like, okay, so you're the Phantom of the Opera. I can't even talk. You're the Phantom of the Opera. You're the Wolfman. You're Dracula. You're the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You're the Beast.
Invisible Man.
You're the Mummy. You're Frankenstein. You're Jekyll and Hyde.
Batman.
You're Batman. You're one of the villains from You're
You're
a villain
Joker.
you're a villain from Dick Tracy, but you're not a villain because you're a good guy, but you kind of have a villainous streak because of the bad thing that happened to you.
And can you give us kind of a Pacino from Dog Day?
Yeah. Just say Attica, like right in the middle. No, but like, and I do think like
from Thingy as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's just so many situations that he's trying to juggle at one time, and it is like overwhelming. Like you do feel it. You do.
Which many influences would you ditch then? What influences would you focus on to make this film better?
I think like you could tell him to be like a Universal horror, creature, but don't worry about specifically calling on each one at all times. Just take the general idea that these were like these tortured, monsters, and just go with that. You don't have to be playing every single one of them at all times. And I just think also work with him on like how to emote through 5 hours worth of prosthetics application, because that's really difficult. I mean, it's difficult for anybody, but if you're somebody who's really used to using your face, it's difficult. I mean, because you see the scenes where he doesn't have that on, and I think he does a much better job. He just seems more comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
And then, that kind of works because the character is more comfortable with his own face on, too. But I think that you still see him, like, battling it out with all of these different things.
Well, he actually said in an interview that he said when he's sitting in the chair, the thing that he had to remember is, all of this makeup they put on for 5 hours, this is his actual skin. And that's what he had to keep in mind. This is me. This is it. So there's a lot.
Varying success in different scenes. Like, I think there's sometimes where it worked and he did okay and he managed it, but there's sometimes when I also just feel like I can see him thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to what we were saying about like tone and things. Like, I feel in some ways like, maybe Sam Raimi was like, well, this is my shot because I got the studio movie with a big budget or a bigger budget for me. So I just got to throw everything at the wall. And like, so he's doing that because, you have your Batman 89 influence here, certainly.
Yeah.
But in the pink elephant scene, we're going back to like an old Batman TV show kind of thing with all of like the stuff showing up, at the visual things showing up on screen to show you how he's like, starting to freak out. Like, I don't know. When the guy's hand gets broken, you almost expect it to be like crack and like have that appear in writing on the screen.
Well, at times this reminded me of, particularly again in that elephant scene, a movie that I like. I like Ang Lee's Hulk, and that does a fantastic job of showing comic book. You see the comic book panels from the beginning in the introduction.
More of a literal way, I would say, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, but it had that kind of, flavor to it. Like you knew where you were at in that movie. I just think that this movie, I think you're absolutely right. Like Sam Raimi wanted to do The Shadow. They're like, you can't do The Shadow. Okay. How about Bruce Campbell? Nope. Okay. Fuck it. Let's do everything that everyone's ever done.
If you will let me do a comic book type movie with this character that's also inspired by Universal monster movies, I'm going to put every single thing I possibly can. It's funny because we just talked about The Gift and we talked about like this restraint. This is the opposite. This is the lack of restraint. This is just like machine gunning everything that there is, just spraying it onto the screen at all times with no restraint whatsoever, to the extent that was possible, right? Because the studio's still going to interfere and be like, no. Like, no, you can't have Bruce Campbell for this. He's not big enough to be the head of this movie. You got to get somebody else. So they end up with Liam Neeson. I mean, I actually think Bruce Campbell could have been really good as
definitely.
Peyton in this too. I think Bill Paxton could have been really good. I'm not saying Liam Neeson wasn't good. There's good things about Liam Neeson. He brings like a different kind of like humanity into the role. But I would have really liked to see what Bruce Campbell could have done with this. It would have been a lot more. I think it would have been a lot more like B-movie, kind of cheesy.
Yes.
But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No.
I'm glad he gets to put Bruce Campbell in at the end as like, Darkman's new face.
Yeah.
Well, then there were 2 sequels to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's something to think about too. And it's like, I don't believe I've seen the other 2, but like.
And you won't be surprised to learn that Liam Neeson did not come back for them.
Yeah, he was too busy doing a little thing called Schindler's List, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Like Bruce Campbell, I think would have definitely been able to lean into certainly the more comic booky side of it, and definitely the cartoony side as well, when it definitely goes into those realms. It's interesting what you say, John, with like Hulk. With that sort of aesthetic that you literally kind of see the panels there drawn out for you in the film sometimes, and that happens quite a lot. It feels very consistent with that. With here, yes, like Sam Raimi goes like frankly nuts with the direction at times, but certainly with the visual effects aspect, making it feel directly like it's from a comic book. There aren't that many times where those kind of freaky reality busting scenes happen. Like there's another one where like these red lines kind of like highlight what the hell what's going on, but that's about it. I just feel like maybe he should have gone down the more of the Ang Lee route and just have that sort of visual effect aspect to it, but just have it more lessened a little bit and have it more spread out throughout the film. Because certainly the pink, yes, I was a fan of that pink elephant scene with what he was doing, but like it does sometimes for some, I feel like it could come completely out of nowhere. Like you do feel a little confused about what the hell's going on with what Sam Raimi is just trying to tell you here. With what he's feeling and what actually is happening in the reality of the scene itself. I feel like certainly with that sort of style, it could have been spread out a little bit more in terms of how far he's going. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that I feel that there is not a unified vision in this film that all of his other films that we mention here have, even if they do go to some wilder places, like Quick and the Dead. We know where we are. We know what we're doing. The Gift. We knew what we were doing. Evil Dead, of course. And, all the way down the line. But with this, it's what I do want to give credit to, which I have not done, is creating a comic book character that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
To the extent that I actually think, oh, this must be a comic book character.
Yes.
Now that is one hell of an achievement.
Agree. I actually, I've seen this movie several times. And like when I went to watch it again this time, I was like, oh yeah, is this based on a comic book? Let me refresh my memory. Because I could very much see that it felt like it. It felt like his story was fleshed out enough for himself, like the backstory of this, that it really felt like he was working with an existing property. So I feel like I do give him credit for that. I mean, some of the inconsistency is clearly coming from the screenplay being written by so many people.
Sure.
Yeah.
And also studio interference happening probably before production, during production, and post-production. So like all of those things are muddling the waters. Then we also have, him being like a first-time big budget director, big relative to what he had done before. And I think that he just didn't have the laser focus that we've seen him working with before. I mean, with Evil Dead, he has so little to work with financially and, has to work with the actors, that he has, and, really is making a lot out of a little, and now is in a situation where he comparatively has a lot to work with. and is kind of like not sure how to rein it in. It
Well,
feels.
Well, you know what I think it is too is he's used to working with a small team. You know,
Yeah.
it was like a few people and they did everything. And when you're a few people, you know each other, and you do everything. You come in with this script, and while you're working on it, it's going to evolve. You're going to have ideas. You're going to shape it. You're going to change it. But when you're dealing with a bigger budget film like this, there's no real room for that. You come in with this is what we're doing because your crew needs to shoot this. Everybody's on a clock. This needs to happen and go home. And that's what I feel like is that they just had to go down the list of these shots and they had to go. And I think over time the film did evolve, or maybe they found things during the process, but they weren't really able to integrate them.
Yeah, I mean that does kind of wrench down your creativity because you don't have that freedom, because you are on the clock, you are working with people. Like he's working with some, a real special effects team, not just some dudes with some makeup and throwing it onto like a demon girl, It's like, so he had like Larry Hamlin and Tony Gardner doing special effects, and they worked pretty extensively with like making these skeleton hands, and doing different makeups and things that could communicate like Darkman to you. But you lose that control because you kind of just tell people what you want, and then they have to interpret it their way and bring it back to you. So there's all these levels, and if you have a kind of a less experienced director, I think it's going to be harder for that person to be a manager in a certain way. Like, yeah, you can say, this is what I'd like to see, but then trying to manage people who admittedly have like years of experience over you, it could be a little bit different. I mean, when we saw like the behind the scenes featurette, they kept referring to like Sam Raimi as like a young director, like really highlighting the fact that he doesn't have a lot of experience, and this is his chance to do these things, and yeah, it is, and I do think he did something good with it, but it's funny to watch this because we've seen him do superhero movies later that are so much more refined and so much more like dialed in to exactly what he wants to see. Because like the Raimi Spider-Man movies are fantastic, and even though there's been so much Spider-Man since then, you can still go back to those and say, hey, these are really like Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock, with Alfred Molina. We love that movie.
Oh yeah,
I mean, my favorite. Yeah,
I mean, he reinvigorated Spider-Man. He is the one that really made you go, wow, okay, Spider-Man. I would watch the TV show when I was younger in reruns, and I was interested in Spider-Man. But when Sam Raimi got Spider-Man, it became an entirely different animal.
It really breathed a lot of life into that and made people see that kind of character in a fresh way that kind of woke people up to it again. People wanted to make more movies. I mean, we've had 2 more sets of Spider-Man movies since his movies. So it's interesting to see him working in a environment here with a superhero type movie in a really early way, and knowing what he's going to do with it later. That also does, though, take away from Darkman, because what he's capable of, what he's working toward. And this is like such like a version 1, this is such like the beta version.
It definitely feels like a training wheels sort of film in a way of working with a big studio. It does feel like as well he's just a little kid in a giant sweet shop, and he can choose every sweet he wants and chucks it in the film kind of thing. And I think with the end, like the last action scene, like on the half built skyscraper, like there's definitely quite a few moments that definitely defy physics, which is just kind of a bit crazy. I don't know whether the comic book style is enough to make that stuff work, but I kind of really liked how the film kind of ends and really shows off sort of Darkman's gothic, gory makeup design, certainly from, not from an acting point of view, but just from an aesthetic point of view. I quite liked that aspect of it. But what I also liked about the end of the film is that it really goes into sort of the tragic nature of the character, that he has to admit to Frances McDormand's Julie that he's become more of a monster on the inside than the outside, and their relationship can never be the same as it was before. I know a lot of that's kind of pretty thin anyway, but I feel like the film does a pretty good job of just tying that sort of in a nice bow. Really, and the fact that Peyton Westlake has to, unfortunately, I guess for him, to embrace the Darkman persona, that he's on his own now, which is not like unusual for sort of these type of stories. But I think they did a pretty good job, I think, of just tying it all together with that. And also it's just great seeing Bruce Campbell at the end. And certainly the music as well in those moments really helps, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen another comic book style film that ends like on a really like high place, like a church or something? I don't know. I don't know if you've ever seen anything like that. Yeah.
A dark anti-hero superhero that ends on
He's right. He's not a dark knight. He's a dark man.
Yeah.
Right. We humanized him. I mean, I think that the movie is strong, and with time, yes, we've become a lot more critical because we saw all the things that came after. But at the time when Darkman came out, I think that there would be a greater appreciation of it because we were still in this period of things to come. Because again, after Batman 89 and then what just started rolling out, I mean, this is just the next year. This is the next summer, right? Mm-hmm. I think it came out here August 24th, 1990. So it was just like, after Batman, the released here in the previous June, it's like, here we are. This is where we're at. And we were brought into a whole new world of these films. But I do appreciate it. I do like it. It's not. Will I watch it again someday? Probably. I mean, there are things about it that I like, but I just wish that there was more consistency.
Yeah, yeah. Some of the things that pull you out of it are big.
Yeah,
that's where the problem comes in.
So to favorites and the scores. Favorite scene for me, I know we've kind of bashed the directing a little bit, like it goes a bit too crazy, but I think for me, I really liked actually the helicopter action sequence. I think first of all, it feels very well structured in the build up of its scale of action. I love the timing of the explosions where like Darkman is jumping away from them in real time. I think the timing is just really great there. Usually directors are so tempted to put slow motion in there, probably because they can, manipulate the timing more, whereas this is all done real time. So I definitely appreciate that. And then later I loved kind of the triple mass gag sequence in kind of the factory / lab, which frankly puts the Mission Impossible films to shame. Then the sequence where Darkman is hanging from a cable off a helicopter is brilliant for me. I love that in a few moments you have like a full-on helicopter chase with a police helicopter, but then when like the helicopter lowers Darkman down to highway level, and it gets really good and intense for me, apart from the cartoon running. You can, but obviously, admittedly, you can see like the joins here with some of the explosions with the filmmaking, but the pace and the intensity never really lets up with that. I think it's really well done. It definitely has like a real nice charm to it with the craft here, which I throughout the whole film, which I definitely very much appreciate, and always kind of really quite love seeing, actually, that you can really feel the filmmaking a little bit. Yeah. So, what's your guys' favorite scenes for you?
The elephant.
Yeah.
It's got to be the
I
elephant.
agree. I would have liked it if they would have kept that kind of, I don't know, high concept-y kind of thing the whole way through instead of dropping it. Like, it would have been fine with me if we would have just gone all the way, with the comic book thing throughout rather than kind of coming in and out of it. That scene is just great fun. But I also do think that what this movie does right is like these big action things, like the helicopter into the helicopter crash,
which is like Mission Impossible also.
Yes. So yeah, and like all those things are really exciting. And I think that they do a great job with it. I feel that the torture scene prior to the explosion is actually quite good. It's this lab, which again, we're kind of leaning into this comic bookiness / universal horror thing where you have all these pointless, machines. Like, they have no idea what these machines do. They have no real meaning, but they come in handy when we need to torture Liam Neeson's character. And I think that like the severity of that is what makes it work for me well, because you do see this horrible thing happening to this person who's really just a nice guy who has like, he's a scientist and he's trying to do something that would be good for people and help the world. And, working really hard and just a smart person who's trying to do something good. And then for no reason, he's getting tortured and presumably killed until he flies out into the water. But, because the only thing they're doing is trying to recover this document. Like, who gives a shit about this? This document is so low stakes. Like, I feel like there's got to be a different way they could have dealt with this document. But I kind of think that scene is good, too, because it does what it needs to do. And there's a lot of kind of cool stuff going on when they're, he's got his hands on the electrodes and all this kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I like it. I guess that makes me a horrible person.
No way.
I kind of like all the weird sciencey stuff, even though I agree it makes no sense with the fact that I loved these two separate vats of goo where you have a slightly darker skin tone and a white skin tone, and they mix together to create a normal skin tone of a gnome, Just like weird stuff like that is just kind of hilarious. Directing score, guys, what are you going for? Do I need to hide behind my chair?
Actually, we thought we kind of rated the screenwriting and acting worse, but like I feel like the directing, even with the issues, is what makes this movie what it is. Like, it makes it watchable because the decisions that he is making and his vision here it's not bad. It's just inconsistent. I guess. Yeah.
And I feel like with Sam Raimi, he's trying to control something that in all ways is completely out of control. And he's trying to blaze a new path with a new comic book character. So I think that there's a lot of resilience and there's still a lot of creativity that shines through, even though I feel that the consistency and sometimes the quality are patchwork.
And I mean, the question I think when you're going to rate this is, did he have a vision and did he execute that? And I think that overall the answer is yes. Like, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
It's early days for him. And you can see that. But we still gave him a pretty high mark on it. Is this what you still want to give it?
I mean, I think just
turn it down a little.
Just a little bit.
We'll give him like a 7. We'll give him a 7.9 for directing.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I was expecting lower.
I'm giving him a lot of credit for, just wait till the acting score. But like I think we can see where he's going, and we're giving a lot of credit for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because it's there. It's the directing is
It's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for my score, I always appreciate directors that always try and push the boundaries of cinema. And, you know, obviously Sam Raimi has a lot of constraints here with budgetary reasons, or whatever, and some of it, and maybe he needed someone in his ear to just say, I think we need to calm it down here, or whatever, or go in a slightly different direction. But certainly watching it in 2026, there's definitely like a real great charm to it, which I always quite like when I'm watching these older films, because a lot of these kind of more modern films where they are extremely CGI heavy with these other worlds, and it takes you out of it pretty quickly, unless you're Avatar or whatever, and you've got all the money in the world to play with the visual effects. But there's enough here that grounds you in, that Sam Raimi grounds you in reality, and yes, there are kind of tonal problems. It goes too far, and the cartoony aspect, and there are some characters that just feel like they're in different films. But I think there's just enough with the design and the style that would warrant a, like, oh god, yeah, I'll go like a flat 8. I think yeah, I just appreciate the creativity, even though sometimes it's not, doesn't quite hit the mark sometimes. They could have gone in a bit of a more streamlined direction, but yeah, an 8 for me. Funny and interesting lines. Definitely one positive of the script is with some of the lines.
They fucking elephant.
Yeah.
I can't stop.
I also like it when Strack says, like, I know you aren't going to do that. You're not going to do that because you can't live with it. And then Darkman lets him go, and he says, I'm learning to live with a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
One line right from the off that I had to write down was, I was engaged to a girl once with a wooden leg. Yeah, what happened? Had to break it off.
That's a terrible joke.
So yeah. Well done. Well done.
Oh gosh. That's good.
Rebel without a clue. Those were the days. Oh man. Really bad.
I actually don't think I was just looking at the quotes, and I don't think I remember this quote, but apparently Julie says, you'll perfect the skin, you'll make it work, and Peyton says, don't you think I told myself that night after skinless night? Oh god, that's so funny.
Yeah,
that is funny.
That's really funny.
That's a terrible, hilarious line.
I kind of love the freak out scene from Liam Neeson when he kind of can't accept that he can't get the skin right, and everyone's laughing at him or whatever, and he's just saying, only $5 to see a dancing freak. That was
that was good.
I think he's selling himself short there. Only $5. Come on, at least 10. But
yeah, come on. That's funny.
Of course. Well, Paulie, have a nice flight. Out the window he goes.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's like a RoboCop, right? Like, you think you can fly, Johnny?
Yeah. I kind of love this line as well when he's beating one of the guys up. And after every punch, he says, "You have been a bad boy." But I think my favorite is just right at the end where he says, which is very Batman, but I'm everyone, I'm no one, everywhere, nowhere, call me Darkman.
That was really over dramatic, hilarious. Yeah. And we were talking about the burn doctor, and I was trying to remember what she said exactly, but at the end of her big, 6-page exposition, she says, personally, I give him a 9 on the buzzard scale. Oh, just funny because she was so professional this whole time, and then at the end, she's just like, "Yeah, no."
See, when we look at these lines again, it's making me think that humor is in there.
Well,
and like,
yeah, so the score is going to be decent.
No, screenplay is not just lines. So just remember, good line does not a good screenplay make. I don't think this is a bad screenplay. I don't think it's like, you know, it's not like a dumpster fire where everything is wrong about it. It's just like there's issues.
Yeah. What are we going for with a score though?
We gave this just a straight 7.
Okay.
On screenplay. Because again, I think it's, you know, it's not bad. It's certainly better than average. He's bringing a lot to the table. But I feel like the inconsistencies tonally and otherwise are kind of coming from that screenplay, whether it's because there are just too many cooks, you know?
Yeah.
Or what. Like the story itself, I think was solid. But screenplay wise, I feel that first of all, we're going through a lot of the same ground. There's not a lot of originality here. You know, I think he's trying to do something, but nothing surprised me once in this movie. I don't think.
Yeah, I think I'll go in a similar ballpark with my score. Yeah, I agree. There's like nothing massively original about kind of the story here, and I mean, obviously, it's an original concept with Darkman, so I think I've got to give it kudos for that. But again, like you have to put it to account. Yes, it's original, but there's like loads of different influences here, and yeah, there's just, as you say, too many cooks, too many influences as well. So, and yeah, and tonally it's just too much sometimes. So, but like the lines are pretty great sometimes. So yeah, I'll go with like a 7.2. Favorite performance, guys? Who are we going for?
Larry Drake.
Yeah, I agree. I think Durant is really the most complete character here. I also think that Larry Drake brings such I don't know, I think that I'm also comparing it to some of his other performances, right? Because like when I see this guy's face, and the reason they picked him for this is because of his face, like they thought he looked kind of like Edward G. Robinson and has kind of this good villain face. And when I see this guy, all I think about is Dr. Giggles, because in the early 90s, like Dr. Giggles, the trailer was always on television when that movie was about to come out. I watched a lot of bad horror movies, so Dr. Giggles was always popping up. And he was so creepy in that, but in a totally different way, because he was just nuts. And in this, he's very restrained and menacing. I think he manages the menace like really well. So I think he sticks out as being, one of the most solid, consistent people in the movie.
Yeah, I'm going to go Larry Drake as well. He definitely feels like the actor that feels most comfortable in this sort of world and within his role. And he obviously gets a little bit more to do when he's pretending to be Liam Neeson as well. I think he does a great job with that as well. So, yeah, Larry Drake as well for me. Acting score, guys, what are you going for?
We kind of went lower. Well, for us, this is pretty low because we're usually pretty relentlessly positive all the time. But we went with a 6.8.
Okay.
I think that, a lot of that has to do with just people not seeming to know what they were doing. And I mean that could be more of a directing problem. So maybe we overstated the directing score and we're understating the acting score. Maybe we should balance it out a little bit better. But anyway, that's where we landed.
It just feels like that there was a lot of confusion. And I think that's, and I mean, we weren't there, so we don't know what exactly made it this way, but something did.
Yeah, I definitely feel sorry for Liam Neeson. He's clearly being told so many different things, and just to to bring it all together in one performance is really hard to do, and it definitely comes through that sort of confusion. And as I said, like the duality of each persona he's trying to act out, there's not much of a clear distinction between Darkman and Peyton Westlake. So yeah, I'll probably go again, very similar. But I do like Larry Drake. I think he suits the villain role really well. Frances McDormand is fantastic, even though it does feel like she is in a different movie sometimes, but she's always great in everything. And I agree with you, John, as well. Like the other kind of henchmen around Larry Drake are having a great time. They're really embracing these roles, especially in that opening scene. Probably one of the best scenes as well. Certainly from an acting point of view, that opening was great. So I'll probably go like a 7, straight 7 for me. Right, let's add up the scores then for Darkman. Darkman gets pretty average 43.9. And the Comfort Films goes to 4 and 1. Very impressive. The Gift wins this episode and scores 47.5. Yeah, I guess fairly low scoring for an episode. But yeah, it's been a fun one as always. Next episode, as The Bride is out with Christian Bale and we've literally just mentioned her before.
Jessie Buckley.
Jessie Buckley, there you go, as the bride. We'll be talking Frankenstein films. And my guest for that one will be Parker from Dissect That Film. So that one should be a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for coming on again. It's always an absolute blast hearing you guys talk film. It's just so much fun. This is your opportunity again to tell us about your podcast and where can we find you?
Yeah, Comfort Films Podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, other podcast platforms. If you're looking for us somewhere and you can't find us, message us on Instagram and we will try to resolve that for you. We have not done any episodes in a while, but we are planning to come back next month and do a monthly show for the remainder of 2026. Next show will be on Inner Space.
Yes.
Last show, from the only one we did last year, was on Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. But we have around, I think, 130 back episodes, so plenty of great comfort films to revisit. Yeah.
We've got some great episodes with Martin, if you want to check those out. Once again, we talked about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Predator, and the Guns of Navarone. Yeah.
Predator consistently sits in our top 10 most listened because it was such a good one.
Yeah, it was fun.
So definitely go check that one out.
And you can also check us out at comfortfilmspodcast.com.
Yes.
Hell yeah. They ain't got time to bleed, people. Right, it's time to say goodbye, people. I know it's very sad, very sad. It is goodbye from John. Bye, John.
Bye.
It is goodbye from Georgia. Bye.
Fare thee well.
And it's goodbye from me. I'm just going to avoid dark men and tarot wielding people. Bye. That's it for part 2. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out part 1 if you haven't done so already. But don't stop there. Get involved and tell me what your favourite films are relating to the episodes. Send us a DM or comment on Instagram and TikTok at Film vs. Film Podcast. For X at FVF_podcast. Plus, we are now on YouTube, so hit that like button and comment there. If you do, I'll give you a shout out on the next episode. Remember, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Pod signing off.